Now, the Hollywood star Bruce Willis has been diagnosed with a form of dementia. His family released a statement to say that it was a relief to finally have a clear diagnosis for Bruce Willis's health condition. It comes just months after it had been announced that he was retiring from acting because of an illness called aphasia, which affects cognitive abilities. The actor became a household name through movies like Die Hard, Pulp Fiction and The Sixth Sense. Joining me now is Professor Yene Ule, Director of the UK Dementia Research Institute at King's College London. Tell me more, if you would, about the form of dementia that Bruce Willis now has.
So Bruce has frontotemporal dementia as diagnosed, which are referred to as FTD. And it's a disease that tends to start at a younger age than other dementias. And it's quite a common form. It's 1 out of 20 cases of dementia. Happy to tell you more.
What are the symptoms?
So the disease affects the parts of the brain that have most unique functions in human, mainly the front and the side of the brain. And those are the parts that are important to communicate, to behave according to cultural norms. So it's actually quite a tricky disease to diagnose. It's often underdiagnosed, but the outcome at the kind of cellular level is the loss of nerve cells in the brain, which is a common outcome for all neurodegenerative diseases. It only depends on which part of the brain is affected.
Professor Ule, what treatments might be available to Bruce Willis to at least slow the process of degeneration?
Currently, there isn't a cure that could actually slow the process or delay it at the molecular level. But there are several clinical trials ongoing that are trying to suppress the accumulation of toxic proteins, which is a common feature of all neurodegenerative diseases. But certainly there are various types of existing therapies, such as occupational and speech therapies, because communication is often an issue here, but also medications for symptoms.
The family have chosen to be very public in describing what is happening to Mr. Willis. What difference do you think it makes when, very prominent people go public with a condition like this? Is it, in your view, useful for the many, many other people around the world who are going through similar things?
I think it very much helps, because part of the problem facing is that we don't have enough awareness of the disease. So often it's undiagnosed or diagnosed too late. Often it's hard to understand how to support the patients facing the disease. And also it helps a lot in raising funding and supporting the progress in finding treatments, which I believe needs to be done at the level of all neurodegenerative diseases as a group, because at the molecular level, the process is always involving accumulation of toxic proteins. And often the genetic causes of diseases are shared. So for example, FTD often shares the same genetic causes as motor neuron disease that actually appears in terms of symptoms very different.
All right. Well, Professor Ule, thank you very much indeed for joining us.